Hello again. Today we're going to talk about McCarthyism. It's also this idea of the Red Scare. The Red Scare also happened in the 1920s because in the 1920s, right after World War I, we kind of start to fear communism and fear this idea that like there are people that aren't fans of democracy. Um, and then during World War II, we kind of like in the Great Depression, we forget about it. And then by the 1950s, communism is starting to rise again in Europe, right? We have the Soviet Union becomes a communist country. North Korea becomes a communist country, and we start to fear that these communist countries are going to become more powerful than us, and like they're going to seep into the American government. And we don't want that to happen because communism is bad. Okay? So McCarthyism, sorry, this guy right here. This is Joseph McCarthy, not McCartney, not related. McCarthy. He is a senator, and he's really like the brainchild behind the mass panic that is the Red Scare. People were always afraid of communism, but he's the one who decided that like we should do something about it and we should like get rid of all of the communists in the United States. Um, so he, as a senator, he wanted to be famous. Like that was his goal in politics, was protecting democracy, and he wanted to be famous for something and like go down in history as being this hero and like saving the world from communism and everything's going to be great. So he takes it upon himself to find every communist in the United States and get rid of them. And he starts like when Congress meets, right? They're all sitting in one big room and they all hang out. So he comes in with like this big stack of papers and he says, everybody in this stack of papers, they're all communists, and we as a federal government need to do something to make sure that they don't, take power and blah, 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 and communism is bad. And people are like, I don't know, like that's a really big list. Also, how do you know that they're communists? Because if somebody asked, hey, are you communist? They'd probably say no. He's like, nah, don't worry about it. He's also drunk. He is drunk like 80% of the time. You can find videos of him in congressional meetings on YouTube, and he's hammered. Like he's slurring his speech, he's sweating. It's bad. Um, so he does that with a big stack of papers. Over time, the like stack of papers gets smaller and smaller because he realizes, all right, I guess like I have to be able to prove that these people are communists, so I should have kind of some hard facts. And he builds a lot of hype around this idea of the Red Scare and like anti-communist movement. Um, he takes it too far though, and then after that, people think that he's crazy. He comes into a congressional meeting one time, and he accuses the entire. I think this is the Navy. It's either the Navy or the Army. But he accuses like every like admiral and general and whatever of being a communist. And he's like, the American military is communist and that's bad. And everyone's like, okay, dude, um, no, like you're just a crazy drunk person. Um, too far. And it was too far. He wasn't reelected. He died of liver failure. He is famous. I mean, he has a whole movement named after him. So I guess he achieved his goal of being famous. It's just, not the greatest and like most positive of outcomes, but I mean, it's kind of a success. Anyways, that's him, Joseph McCarthy. So, fear of communism at home, right? We start to panic because we panic that like if communism seeps into America, we're all gonna die. Okay. So basically, like what the Red Scare becomes is this idea of, on one hand, pointing fingers at everybody else. Um, one, to accuse other people, and two, if you are a communist, like you point at somebody else, that takes the attention off of you. So the majority of American society becomes just this like super um like paranoid system where where we're all trying to accuse other people of being communist. Okay, people turn on family, they turn on their friends, they turn on their neighbor, like, oh, you bought too many groceries this week, you're a communist. Oh, you didn't send your kids to this cool like after school program, you're a communist. Oh, you took the government like loan help, you're a communist. And it was just like mass chaos of everybody accusing everybody. A couple like actual organizations were created. So first is the Loyalty Review Board. So this Loyalty Review Board uh, is like for a job, you have to go through this review board. So normally when you interview for a job, you interview, they ask you questions, they say whether or not you had the job. The Loyalty Review Board then comes in and like hardcore questions you to make sure that you're not a communist. Like they question you on like the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and like what it means to be, quote, an American and all of this stuff. Typically, the people that the Loyalty Review Board is going after, scientists, authors, uh, artists, and teachers. Okay? These are the people typically that they're going for most, right? Authors and artists because like they have a lot of say socially, right? In this age of social conformity, everyone's reading the same thing, everyone's buying the same art. So if these authors and artists are communists, then a lot of communist like ideas might kind of seep into their work. And if the greater population is then reading these books and like looking at this art and listening to this music, subconsciously they're going to be collecting all of this communist like propaganda, and the Loyalty Review Board doesn't want that. Okay, they're looking at scientists because when we talked about the 20s, right, we're moving away from tradition and more towards science. So now science, and we just dropped 2 atomic bombs, so science is like kind of cool at this point. So the Loyalty Review Board starts to worry that if scientists are communist, one, they might be smuggling our scientific achievements like to the Soviet Union, and that's bad. Also, right, again, if they say like, oh, there's this new pill that makes you think socialism is good, right? We don't want that to happen because then everybody's going to turn into a communist and a socialist. And teachers, right? Because we are with children from the time they are 5 to 18. These are the formative years when you make a lot of opinions, when you like retain a lot of information, right? Little kids, if you tell a little kid to do something, they're like, oh, okay, great. If you tell a little kid, hey, you should wear underwear on your head because it's the cool thing, they'll do it, right? Little kids just absorb stuff, they do what adults tell them, and that's just how they function. So a lot of teachers are fired. A lot of teachers come under question because parents don't want communist teachers teaching their children because they're going to teach them like communist ideals, and that's bad because if all of the people aged 5 to 18 become communists in another 18 years, in 17 years, when this kid can run for president, well, he just had 13 years of being taught communist ways. And then we might have a communist president, and we can't have that. So a lot of teachers are fired. A lot of like authors and artists are not allowed to produce any works anymore, and it's just bad. Okay. Secondly is the House of Un-American Activities, which I just think is a really funny name. But the House of Un-American Activities, similar to the Loyalty Review Board. The Loyalty Review Board does a lot more like just questioning of people. The House of Un-American Activities then does like legal investigations. Okay. So in the 50s, there's this group of people called the Hollywood 10. Okay, just like with authors and artists, people are worried that if an author writes a book that has like communist undertones, everybody might pick up on it. Same thing with movies, right? When you watch a movie, like if there's like communist undertones, you might kind of slowly start to believe in communism, whether or not you think that that's what's happening. That might be happening. So a lot of screenwriters producers are fired. Um, and then this group of people, the Hollywood 10, they're 10 individuals, 10 people who are important in Hollywood, that are accused of being communist and are like brought in for official questioning. Like they're basically sued for being a communist, which you can't do, right? This is America. You're allowed to have different political ideologies. There's nothing that in the Constitution or any law that says that you can't be a communist. So this Hollywood 10 are 10 people that were like, nope, you can't do that. That's not a thing. You can't like put me on trial for being a communist. No. Okay. Cary Grant, if you've heard of him, he was one of these. There's another guy that you hopefully have heard of. Ronald Reagan. Okay. He was an actor, like in Hollywood. He was in a lot of Western movies. After he retired from acting, he became governor of California. After that, he became president. Okay, so you should go watch one of his movies. They're entertaining. Anyways, so it's this group of people that are like, dude, this is hardcore violating what democracy is all about. Because democracy is about like difference of opinions and is about the people working together to make the country work. Right? First Amendment, freedom of speech is a thing. And in this investigation in Hollywood, they're saying that like if you're a communist, you can't speak. You can't have a job that's in the public eye. You can't talk about what you believe in. You can't do any of this stuff. And the Hollywood 10 just kind of say like, yeah, no, that's wrong. This is like the most un-American thing ever. And it's being done by the House of Un-American Activities, which I find ironic because it's an un-American activity. Anyway, so a lot of people, it's called blacklist. If somebody thought you were a communist and they fired you because they thought you were a communist, you were put on like this imaginary blacklist, and nobody else would hire you. Even if they might be the world's best actor, if somebody thinks they're a communist, well, you don't want them in your movie because then it looks like you're a communist sympathizer, and that's bad. So just the whole like Red Scare, McCarthy movement is just this mass paranoia, right? We're paranoid that the Soviet Union is gonna like drop an atomic bomb on us. We're paranoid that our neighbor might be a communist. We're paranoid that somebody else might think that you're a communist. Um, all the while we're keeping up that social expectation that we talked about yesterday of social conformity, right? You're supposed to sound a different way, you're supposed to look a different way or a certain way, you're supposed to act a certain way. And if you don't fit into that social conformity, if you don't do what society tells you to, well then you must be a communist. Because a true like democracy, American loving person would fit into this, cookie cutter society that we've created. If you don't, you're a communist. Okay? So it's this fear of like, do I want to be accused of being a communist, or do I want to give in to peer pressure and do what society tells me to? And society is telling me to accuse everybody else of being a communist, so what do we do? Okay? So yeah, it's really entertaining. On the, skim the surface, everything's great, hunky-dory. Underneath that, we're all freaking out that your neighbor might be communist. You're freaking out that somebody might think that you're a communist. Freaking out that your kid's teacher might be a communist. All good things. Okay? Mass paranoia, mass panic. Okay? So that's the Red Scare in a nutshell. That's McCarthyism. This is him again. Look at him. Okay? Go find a funny YouTube video of him drunkenly talking in Congress about communism, because they're entertaining. All right, if you have questions, let me know. This idea of paranoia, you can use this in your political cartoon. That's a good mood, a good theme to think about if you're still trying to think of what you want to address.